guys, what's up? It's Russell at HHWoodReviews here, and there's a small movie that came out, I guess, apparently last week, Infinity Wars. Made a little bit of money, I heard. It dethroned Star Wars: The Force Awakens as the all-time biggest box office opening ever at $257 million, I think it is. Joining me today to talk all things Infinity Wars, I know you guys have a lot of questions. My buddy Mike from Merry Movie Reviews is here. Mike, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. I finally got to see this movie a couple days after you, and I'm super excited to talk about this movie with you. Oh, man. It's big.
Absolutely. I had to hold my tongue because there was so much I wanted to talk about, but I was like, you know what? We're going to go do a show that talks all things Infinity War spoilers, so you are warned. If you have not seen it, shut this off. Do not watch it because we are going deep dive into all things Avengers Infinity War. So let's go ahead and start off with the beginning of the film. The beginning of the film pretty much takes place right when Thor Ragnarok leaves off, I'm pretty sure, with the ship and everything going on there. How do you think, were you kind of surprised that they transitioned in it so quickly?
I was. I wanted to see how... This is like part of a negative. I wanted to see how Thanos got the Power Stone. They kind of just jumped right in. He's already got it. I was a little disappointed with that. But that beginning on the Asgardian ship, that was incredible. That hooked me right away, and I was already like, my heart was beating out of my chest at that point.
Yeah, because I'm like we're going right into it. Like it's not even like, we're going to set things up. We're throwing you right in the heart of things. And the thing that was so shocking, within the first 15 minutes, Loki's dead.
Yeah. And Heimdall.
And within the first 15 minutes of this movie, Idris Elba and Tom Hiddleston are gone. They are dead. When I saw that, I'm like, the Russo brothers are really throwing out all the punches, and they're not holding anything back because I thought for sure Loki may or may not live throughout the whole entire film. I thought probably was going to go because you don't see him at the end in the battle scenes and stuff like that, so he kind of was understandable. But Idris Elba's character was kind of interesting, throwing him off.
I liked the way that they did it, though. They handled it pretty well because, I mean, you have that Hulk fight scene. I'm sure we're going to talk about that in a minute. But when Heimdall sends Hulk to Earth and then Thanos just turns to him and says, that was a mistake, I knew it. At that point, I'm like, dang, he's going to kill Heimdall. And I wanted Heimdall to do more in this movie, but he did a lot for the plot of the movie by getting Hulk to Earth. And then that Loki death, that was pretty intense. With Thanos choking him out. That was, wow.
Yeah, because it's like he's just sitting there lifeless in Thanos' hands, and I'm like, wow, that's how Loki is like going to die? They're going to really kill him off just like that. And so quickly, too. And you can see the hurt in Thor's eyes and stuff like that as his brother's dying right in front of him. You can see, even though they are kind of yin and yang of each other, they're kind of polar opposites of each other, there's still love there at the end of the day for his brother. So, yeah, it was kind of heartbreaking, for sure.
Yeah, the beginning of this movie really does set the tone of the movie about who is going to be the main character, and that is Thanos. But Thor is like the secondary character. He's like the big hero of this movie, and they start the movie with them two, and I thought that was just really well done because Thor's he's having his heart ripped out right in front of him pretty much, with everyone that he's ever known pretty much dying in front of him. That was really bad.
We've seen everybody pretty much that Thor's gotten close to like die, like his parents, then Loki.
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead. We're going to go ahead and set up that next one. The next big surprise was, what about Hulk and Thanos one-on-one there for that quick scene? I was like, holy shit, we're really getting into this like right now. Like I thought this was something we would maybe see later on, but within the first 15, 20 minutes of the movie, it's Bruce Banner versus Thanos, man.
That was incredible. Just to see how strong Thanos really is, and he only has the Power Stone. I don't even think he was using it at that point, but that fight scene was so cool. The last time we saw a Hulk, like an even fight with the Hulk, was in The Incredible Hulk when he was fighting Abomination, and that fight scene I thought was pretty great. And this one, because of what was at stake here, I just thought it was just even better.
for sure, because like how you said about the Incredible Hulk, yeah, that fight scene, they were pretty evenly matched, but you kind of understand the sheer strength of Hulk, because it's always, in the movies, it's all Hulk is so strong and stuff like that, and Thanos is tossing him around like a rag doll, and it is amazing his sheer strength. You know that this guy, it's going to take literally a whole army of guys to stop Thanos, and when you see Hulk get tossed around like a little ragdoll like that, you're like, holy shit, we are in for it. We're really in for it because, if you can just manhandle, ideally, I think he is the strongest of all the, Avengers out of everybody. I think he's the strongest. Brute strength-wise, Hulk is the strongest. But yeah, so what other scenes really stuck out to you there at the beginning after the Hulk scene?
Well, I really did enjoy that scene where Doctor Strange and Iron Man, Doctor Strange and Tony Stark meet because they had never met before, and just to see them interact was really fun. Two characters that have played Sherlock Holmes. I really wanted them to kind of address something about that, but they didn't, but it was still fun. And yeah, that was definitely a fun scene near the beginning.
It was really cool to see RDJ and Benedict Cumberbatch interact with each other, because they seem to be. Benedict Cumberbatch is a little bit more drier humor than RDJ, so it was kind of nice to see those guys kind of play kind of off of each other. But it was really cool to see Doctor Strange get introduced right there at the beginning of the film with RDJ and kind of get state his claim as to what he's going to bring to the table moving forward in the film. So I thought the introduction of Doctor Strange, I really like the little characters like that end up having a bigger role, in the film moving forward for sure. So then what else do we see? We see pretty much just some fighting and mayhem ensues and all that fun stuff. Yeah. And then we see that they are after the Infinity Stones, so they know that Doctor Strange has an Infinity Stone, I believe. Yep. So then
he has the Time Stone.
Yeah, the Time Stone. So they're after him, and that's pretty much sets up the beginning of that interaction with him and RDJ.
I have to say, I love the children of Thanos, the Black Order, and that fight scene in New York when the Ebony Maw versus Doctor Strange, the two magical characters. Yeah. Of course, obviously Scarlet Witch is a magical character, but those two sorcerer characters fighting against each other. That was really cool to watch and to see who's going to get who, and then Spider-Man joins in. That was. That whole New York.
I love that scene. I love that scene when he's sitting in a school bus. You can see it in the window, and you can see those hairs you see the spider senses start to happen. And it was like, holy shit, this is so awesome. Which leads me into my other discussion. What do you think of the new Spider-Man suit?
I thought it was awesome. I honestly didn't expect, I'd seen pictures of the toy and stuff where he has the extra legs that come out. But I didn't actually know how they were going to play into the movie, and I thought it looked fantastic. It played well into the movie because he kind of needed extra armor and those extra legs for more strength. And I liked how the suit looked, but I'm not the biggest fan of the technology that it's like nanotechnology or whatever, how it grows. Yeah. It's a little too sci-fi for my taste, but it was still really cool.
And then it just brings it home because that's Stark Industries, I think, that would end up making his armor. So we know that there's that underlying bond between RDJ and Peter Parker's character in the whole entire film moving forward. It kind of reminded me. It had shades of Doc Ock, Spider-Man 2, with the attachments and stuff like that, like how he was kind of crawling around. It kind of took me back to Doc Ock in episode 2. So let's see. We're doing that. What other fun things you want to talk about with this film here?
Well, I loved the introduction of the Guardians of the Galaxy. That was fantastic. And how they run into Thor. It was just that scene where Thor is laying on the table.
Literally run into Thor. That's how they got it,
They brought in the humor of the other Guardians of the Galaxy movies flawlessly, and it fits so well. It's to me it looks like the directors of each of their movies had a huge say in how those scenes were going to play out and how those characters would behave in those scenes. And you got to hand it to the Russo brothers for delivering that and making it just that seamless.
And we beat the dead horse with the Russo brothers. I wasn't worried about the transitions of each character in the film because I knew that the Russo brothers were going to transition characters in appropriately as they seemed fit throughout the story. It wasn't going to get oversaturated with like characters hogging screen time. And the way that they introduced, as soon as I heard the music, I'm like, oh, that's the Guardians of the Galaxy. I just kind of I just knew what was going on. I knew the transition, and it was kind of funny to see them interact with Thor because it was like they're so different, and how like. It was funny. The funny part about it was Star-Lord and Thor, because he was trying to act manly in front of Thor because everybody was like, oh, Thor is such a beautiful god, and look at his muscles and stuff like that. So kind of under-masculating Star-Lord, so he had to like try to act tough and talk with a deeper voice, you know. I thought that was funny, and that brought that Guardians of the Galaxy humor back into the Infinity War, which made Guardians of the Galaxy so successful, was the humor that the film, you know, constantly rolled out. And I just thought that it was like a cut and paste thing. Infinity War, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that scene for sure.
Yeah, and you had brought up the idea of the music introducing the Guardians of the Galaxy, and I gotta say, the music in this movie, having all those familiar themes from each of the characters' movies in this movie was awesome. Alan Silvestri did incredible on the score, and to hear the return of the Avengers theme song at the right moments.
And then when we got transported to Wakanda, you heard Black Panther's theme. It was just like everything was just the whole entire movie flowed for sure. So after Thor, so Thor meets up with the Guardians. What big things next did you want to kind of touch on?
To be honest, I jumped in the scene when Scarlet Witch and Vision are in, I don't remember what city they're in. I want to say London.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Like when the Black Order characters attack, I jumped because I saw it coming, but I didn't know when it was going to happen.
It was so surprising, and I felt like, and they were so outnumbered. I'm like, shit, Vision might die, because I kind of had a feeling Vision was going to go in the movie, and I'm like, if this is going to happen, it's going to happen now, because they're just outnumbered. It's only Scarlet Witch and Vision, and that's it. Nobody else is there. It's just the two of them, and I was like, oh, this might happen now.
I was really surprised that Vision survived that fight scene.
I was too.
In a way, I kind of wanted him to die, but I'm like, no, he's got to survive to be in the big fight, because it's Vision. He's probably one of the more powerful Avengers, but they really, like, I can't think of the proper word, but they toned his power down in this movie because of his wounds that he sustained in that first fight scene that he was in. And I really liked that. And then when, of course, Captain America and Falcon and Black Widow come in, again, the music was fantastic, but the introduction...
Familiar faces, because Steve Rogers has been MIA for a while. He comes back with a grizzly vet look, like a man who's been kind of hibernated for a long time, and finally they know that he needs to come back into it. Because I remember, wasn't it, who did they give it to? They gave it to Stark, I think, to try to get in contact with Rogers. And he didn't. And then the other scene I want to talk about, how shocked were you to see Red Skull again?
Oh my goodness. I when I heard the voice, I was like, that sounds familiar, but I don't know who this is. And then when they revealed his face, I was like, there he is. Because we didn't know what happened to him at the end of Captain America, the First Avenger, and then they finally explained it. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah. I think it was one of those things where it was like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, it looks like a ring wraith from Lord of the Rings. Because he had that, because he looked exactly like one of the Black Riders or the Night Riders or whatever. He looked exactly like a Nazgul. And then when he took his mask off, I'm like, wait, I was like, that's Red Skull, because he looks like Skeletor a little bit, I think. But that was shocking too. And then I guess I heard Hugo Weaving actually didn't come back to reprise his role as Red Skull. They got somebody else apparently, from what I had heard.
Yeah, they got Ross Marquand, who he actually does really good impressions. If you get a chance, look him up on YouTube and look up Ross Marquand impressions. He does awesome. But I thought he did really good as the Red Skull, impersonating Hugo Weaving.
Oh, I didn't know.
I couldn't really tell that big of a difference.
Neither could I. It wasn't until after the movie I was like, oh, that's cool. And I heard my one friend was like, oh yeah, that wasn't Hugo Weaving. I was like, what? It sounded just like him. So I mean,
He really did.
Other people are going to sit there and watch and be like, oh yeah, it's Red Skull. But I didn't know it was literally not Hugo Weaving. So I thought that was kind of cool. So then, meanwhile, and what's going on with all these stories? Thanos is just collecting stone after stone after stone. We see the Collector in the film too. The Collector makes a cameo in the film, and kind of just gives up his stone. Really?
Yeah, they don't really show how he gets that stone. He just kind of has it. But I liked how the Guardians of the Galaxy like kind of try and stop him, but they were just a little too late. And the reveal of him having the Reality Stone was that was really well done. It was surprising to me because obviously in the trailers they only showed him ever having two stones, the purple and the blue stone, the Power Stone, and the Space Stone. And I kind of called it in some of my previous videos that they were just hiding the fact that he had multiple stones in the Infinity Gauntlet right in front of our faces because they didn't want to give that away. And as soon as they showed that he had that red stone, I'm like, they did it. They hit it right in front of our faces again. But I thought it was a great reveal.
Because it's like almost by a half hour into the movie, 45 minutes into the movie, he almost has the whole gauntlet complete already.
Yep.
Which was really which was really crazy because they moved that along. Well, obviously they had to with the 2 hour and 40 minute runtime. But I was kind of like, wow. And then the other thing that really stands out, I know you're probably going to touch on this next, maybe the Gamora Thanos storyline.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, when she like kills him when he has the Reality Stone, and he's kind of like faking her out. Yeah. I knew that he wasn't going to die. I thought that was actually happening, but he was going to survive his wounds. But that was a very powerful scene. I enjoyed that for sure.
For sure, because then we see flashbacks of Thanos actually, kind of undertaking Gamora, kind of raising Gamora, and we really see that strong bond. I use it loosely because Gamora kind of really kind of hate. There's a lot of resentment with Gamora's character to Thanos, but Thanos thinks he did, kind of like, oh, I was there for you. And the one scene that really sticks out is when he's kind of like This is the thing that really kind of I really appreciated when they're talking about balance. They were talking about when she was holding Thanos was teaching her about balance, things about balance. Yeah. And I think that theme came back to Half-Life, which we find out near the end of the film that we'll touch on later. But that whole thing with balance, like you always have to have balance in life. And that's a theme that resonates later on in the film, which it was kind of nice to see a little bit of foreshadowing, I guess.
Yeah.
But then I also liked the scene where Thanos kind of like distracted her while Thanos' people were completely slaughtering everybody else. And I was like, wow, this guy is a monster. This guy's an absolute wretched monster. And hats off to Josh Brolin. I can't.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, this guy. For all intents and purposes, Thanos is the best MCU villain by far. This movie signed, sealed, delivered that for me. Brolin is ruthless in this film as Thanos, man. I really. What do you think, Brolin from the film?
Incredible. I honestly, like you said, I think he's the best MCU villain that we've had, and I this might be bold to say, but I think he's the best comic book movie villain that we've had, even better than Heath Ledger's Joker from The Dark Knight, because he is so ruthless, but he has a sensitive side to him, and he truly believes what he's doing is benefiting the universe, and like, just it's insane that he gets that powerful, and he actually completes his mission, and that's the first time we've ever seen a villain win, and I think that's what really makes him the best, is that it's his movie.
Yeah,
that's what I love about it, and he's great.
Russo brothers weren't afraid to let a villain in the driver's seat for this movie, which I appreciated it. I had to think about it a little bit after film, but I'm like, there's a lot of comparisons to Heath Ledger and Josh Brolin with villains DC against Marvel. Different characters for sure, but we do see a softer side to Josh Brolin, as opposed to Heath Ledger is just all out ruthless in this whole entire film, and there's no saving, or there's no redemption or saving grace to the Joker's character in this film. So let's see. We've talked about that. I know that we're just jumbling around because this movie just throws so much at you in the 2 hours and 40 minutes.
It is a little hard to follow with all the jumping around, because they do split the characters up in 4 scenarios, maybe 5 even.
Yeah, and we'll go ahead and talk about that then. Yeah, we had little storylines within storylines. So we had obviously the Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh no, because Thor split out with Rocket and Groot, which was an interesting trio, I thought. Yeah. Putting those guys together. So yeah, I liked the little bit of banter between Rocket, Raccoon, and Thor. I thought that was comical too.
Yeah, because in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, they kind of show Rocket to be more. They're showing more of a sensitive side to his character, which I was glad to see that come back a little bit. Yeah,
especially because Thor's gone through so much, and it was kind of nice to see Rocket actually kind of be a little bit, sympathetic, I guess. And then the funny part, the other funny scene was, what about teenage Groot now? We have teenage Groot acting like a teenager on his laptop or his iPad or whatever.
Yeah.
Not paying,
I enjoyed the fact that his character was like that, but I was also disappointed that he didn't do that much. He really only does 2 or 3 things in the movie, and one of them is a very big thing that he does by completing the hammer for Thor, or an axe. But the rest of the movie is just kind of in the background. He doesn't really do anything. He has a couple lines of course, I am Groot, but he's still a fun, cute character.
Oh, it was entertaining nonetheless. So we'll skip that, and then let's see. We're probably talking all out of place, but that's okay. Then we go back to Wakanda, so we see Black Panther and T'Challa and everything. So that's kind of cool too.
Oh yeah.
How did you feel about that transition into Wakanda and seeing some familiar faces that we just saw a couple months ago?
Yeah, I was so excited to see the return of Wakanda. I mean, I knew we were going to get back there, but we got to see all the other minor characters from Black Panther, like Shuri and Okoye. They kept their characters consistent from Black Panther, and it was really fun to see them again.
Yeah, for sure. I was glad to see the Wakanda, the drums or the gongs and stuff like that, to get that real that war sound almost in there when you get transported to Wakanda. It's so cool. As soon as you saw the cinematography of the overlay of Wakanda, it had goosebumps too. That was really cool. And then touching with the breaking up the group. So we had Thor, Rocket Raccoon, and Groot. And then we had what? We had Iron Man's camp. It was Iron Man. It was
Spider-Man, Doctor
Strange, because they went at the beginning on. I think it was up that big wheel thing.
Yep, the O ship. I don't know what they're actually called.
Yeah, the thing that obviously Peter Parker sees outside the school bus window that literally is taking up the whole entire city of New York. We see that, and we see Iron Man's character and Doctor Strange kind of I believe it's Iron Man. It obviously was the one that was more pursuant to it.
Yeah.
But then Spider-Man wants to tag along and try to do his best to help, and then they're stuck up on there. So that's the 3 of them up there. All right, then I'm trying to think. What other characters did we see? We saw
the other characters that join Iron Man's crew are Star-Lord, Mantis, Drax.
They end up,
Is that the only 3 that join? I think it is.
It was Star-Lord, because there was that fun banter between RDJ and Chris Pratt, which I thought was hilarious.
That was so great.
Just because they have they're both cocky, but they're cocky differently. It was funny to see that kind of mesh on the screen too. And I'm trying to think. So there was them, and then
there's the big team in Wakanda.
It was huge. It was Black Panther,
Captain America.
America,
Vision, Scarlet Witch,
Falcon.
Yeah.
This
a lot of others. It was Bruce Banner, War
Banner
Machine,
came down to
and
Bruce
Black
Banner came down to Wakanda. That's right. Yep.
I think that's it. And obviously Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, and White Wolf.
Obviously, because how they ended up ending the movie in Black Panther, we knew that Bucky Barnes was going to obviously play a role and be in Wakanda. So that was kind of cool, and it was different that the Russo brothers hit that approach. We didn't get to see that whole entire
Right.
conglomerate of different superheroes, which I was kind of bummed about, but I kind of get it because there's just so much star power to put on the screen at one time. But it was nice. It was kind of cool to see these different characters that you didn't think would interact with each other. Like, when did you ever think Thor was going to hang out with Rocket and Groot? You know?
And Groot. Of all the other characters that he could interact with, especially in the Guardians of the Galaxy, those two.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for sure.
It was it was funny, and that's the great part about having the Guardians of the Galaxy in the film. They're more comic relief, but they still serve their purpose, you know. So let's see what else we have. Any other big ones? Oh yeah, what about Gamora's death? So we see.
Oh yeah.
We see how ruthless Thanos is because he has a chance to kill off Gamora, and he absolutely takes full advantage of it, and he throws her off the cliff or whatever, the big cliff.
Yeah.
What was going through your head when you were watching that?
I honestly, I thought it was a really beautiful scene because you do see that, again, that kind of sensitive side, but also the ruthless side of Thanos, because he's struggling to make that decision. And the entire time I'm watching that scene, I'm like, Gamora, shut up and just run away, because once Red Skull said it requires a sacrifice of something you love, I'm like, it's Gamora, run away, go.
It's a done deal, because Thanos obviously loved Gamora a lot more than, reversed than Gamora loved Thanos.
Yeah, and they even say that in the first
happened,
Guardians of the Galaxy when Thanos says, you alienated my favorite daughter, Gamora. Like, they set that up back then, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it was just that small little thing that was said that ends up coming. I feel like that's the thing that makes Marvel so magical, is the fact that these little small details, they end up, showing their nasty face again. In the linear scheme of things, it ends up showing its pesky face somewhere down the road. There's a reason these things are said. And I just can't. It speaks wonders of how organized Marvel is and why they have it together as opposed to DCU.
Yep, absolutely. They know what they're doing with their movies for sure.
And it's amazing how meticulous everything is, and just that fine process that they do things to get things right. And these movies just keep getting like when Black Panther, was. I mean, a lot of people thought it was the best Marvel movie. I mean, to me, it was top 10. I wouldn't put it
definitely.
at 1. But I mean, but they keep getting better and better and better. Infinity War knocked it out of the park, man. I really, really enjoyed this film.
Yeah. And to talk more about that Soul Stone part, I have mixed feelings about it, because I liked the fact that nobody thought of that. Like, everyone's theory about where the Soul Stone was wrong. Personally, I thought it was in the Grand Master's melt stick from Thor Ragnarok, because it was an orange ball that he touched somebody and it melted him away. I'm like, that's powerful, right? The Soul Stone, it takes somebody's life away.
Come back,
Yeah, but it turned out that it was just kind of a more fantasy element to it, and that's where I kind of lost it a little bit, because it played out kind of like a fantasy video game where it's like, once you complete this task, he gets warped away from that spot. He's in the middle of a really shallow lake, and he wakes up and the Soul Stone's in his hand. I just thought it was a little, like I said, a little too fantastical, but it's still cool.
I feel like, take nothing away from the movie. I just think going about getting these Infinity Stones so quickly, I feel really kind of took away a little bit from the film, because you're like, well, it's going to happen, so just get to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was the thing that kind of like bothered me, but overall, I mean, I still like what the Russo brothers did with the film. I have not a lot of qualms about it. I just think they kind of rushed all the Infinity Stones. You know what I mean? It was like all of a sudden, well, he has 2, he has 3, he got 4 now. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, like.
And it all kind of takes place in like one day too. So he accomplishes a lot in one day.
And that's the thing, and because like we have 10 years of movie spanning, and this guy has the most productive day in the MCU ever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, that to me was kind of mind blowing. But I mean, I guess for the, I can try to. I try not to pick too much apart of it. I kind of just let it go and think, hey, maybe this was over more of a period of time, whatever. So we touched on Gamora, but the thing about it that we'll touch on later, the thing with Gamora dying, I don't think that's permanent just because of the fact she's so vital to the Guardians of the Galaxy. And with the third one coming up around, the next couple years, she has to come back because, obviously there's a love interest between her and Chris Pratt. So I don't think you're going to kill her off just like that. I think they're going to use some kind of, obviously one of the Infinity Stones to kind of undo time. And we'll touch upon that later on. But, so we have Gamora's death. What other things did you have on your list that you wanted to touch on?
Well,
there's so much going on in this film.
There's a lot going on, and I had my notes that I have are just all over the place.
Yeah.
But the idea of Nebula coming back, I thought that was pretty cool, and to see her being tortured earlier in the movie, that was pretty intense. I didn't think that she was going to be actually captured in this movie.
She was going to be in it.
Right. And honestly, I thought her character was going to die, and she actually ends up surviving, which is very surprising to me because she's always been kind of like a minor anti-hero type of character.
Yeah, because we saw in Guardians of the Galaxy too. She had a role, but it was one of those things where it was like, well, they probably not even going to put her in the film. So I was kind of really shocked to see that she makes such a impact in Infinity War. So I thought that was kind of cool that she came back. That was cool that Nebula comes back. Let's see, what other things? There's, like I said, again, so much to cover. I know we're going to leave things out, and people are going to freak out and be like, what? You've already made it through a half hour, so congratulations, guys. Yeah. I'm trying to think of other things that we need to talk about. I'm trying to do it chronologically, but there's just there's so much. There's so many.
That fight scene on Titan, though.
What's that?
The fight scene on Titan.
Oh wow! Yeah,
that was incredible.
Yeah,
I honestly thought that was the best fight action scene in the whole movie because they almost defeated Thanos. And to be honest, Mantis played a huge role in that. And I did not know what her character was going to do in this movie. I'm like, it's Mantis. She puts people to sleep.
Awkward, Yeah, it was really... Yeah.
Yeah, that was... And they were this close to getting that Infinity Gauntlet off. And when they were doing it, I'm like, no, I don't think they're going to succeed. They can't succeed.
It's Star Wars' fault.
It really is.
It really is.
I thought that scene was really well acted on everyone. And it was emotional, and it was tense. You just feel all the emotions during that scene. And it was really, really well done.
As you slowly see the gloves start drifting off, you're like, this is going to happen. And they're all working together so furiously because they need to, because this is it. Like, the whole entire world needs this. The whole galaxy and the whole world, everything, the whole universe needs these guys to come through because this guy is so powerful with these Infinity Stones. It's crazy. And it goes again to show what a great villain Thanos was. But that fight on Titan for sure really, I think, cinched it for me. I like that a lot more than the Battle at Wakanda.
Yeah.
Just because there was, I just think because there was more, I guess it wasn't like, because when you go to Wakanda, you have all of like the Black Panther's army and stuff like that. Yeah. You have so many other characters. This one's more personal because it's like 5 or 6 of them against Thanos. You know what I mean?
And it showed how powerful Thanos was to take on all of them and win again.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really mind-blowing for sure. I really did like that scene in Titan, though, for sure. So then we'll go ahead and fast forward a little bit, I guess, and we'll get to what other things. We see the introduction of the Hulkbuster suit. I thought that was kind of cool. And then we start seeing problems that throughout the whole entire film, Mark Ruffalo cannot channel Bruce Banner. Like, Bruce Banner cannot become Hulk. We see that problem. And it was kind of funny because I remember... the Incredible Hulk, remember, he's meditating, and it says Jason's last infinite, and then all of a sudden it says 1, and it has his eyes go green, and the end ends the film. Still an underrated film, but hey, it is what it is. But we start to see that in Thor Ragnarok about where Bruce Banner really wants to kind of hone in and try to like contain the Hulk. And we see it's funny because even at these crucial scenes when Mark Ruffalo's character has to get mad, he just can't. Because even RDJ is like, well, what the hell? Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? Like, turn into Hulk already. So,
it played out well for humor as well. Like, you're embarrassing me.
The thing I wanted to see the most, I wanted to see I wanted to see Mark Ruffalo's character turn into the Hulk in the Hulk Buster suit and kind of like bust out of it.
Yes, that's what I was expecting that when all the Outrider creatures like piled on top of him. Like, here comes the Hulk. Here we go.
I was like, this is going to happen. It's going to be so awesome. He's going to shatter through this Hulk Buster suit, literally Hulk busting. And I just thought it would have been funny to play on words for what it was called, and the fact that like Hulk just does so much more damage, and that kind of stunk. I didn't like the underutilization of Banner's character in the film.
Yeah.
But we did get a lot of Hulk in Thor Ragnarok, and I think that's why they kind of tried to. I think they eased off the gas because of what Taika Waititi did in Thor Ragnarok. I think that's kind of why maybe they didn't want to oversaturate it with Hulk.
Yeah, I did get a little annoyed with Mark Ruffalo in this movie, especially in the Wakanda battle when he trips in the Hulkbuster armor. And then, of course, when Thor arrives, he just goes, "Oh, you're all screwed now." And you just see his Mark Ruffalo head in the side of the Hulkbuster. I was like, it came off the wrong way to me. It wasn't funny enough, and it just seemed like he was trying too hard. But
it'd have been funnier. Yeah.
I see some false advertising in this movie. Not that it was that disappointing, but the fact that they showed the Hulk at the end of that big money shot at the end of the trailer when it got everyone all excited when you see all them running. Hulk is there, but he never shows up in Wakanda.
That shit never happened.
Never happened. I was waiting for that shot scene in the movie. And it never happened. I was so disappointed with that.
That scene where you see, Captain America leading almost like the flying V, like the Mighty Ducks of like the holy crap of Mighty Ducks V. You see all of them, and you see Hulk in the background running. Yeah, that never happened.
No, and I was disappointed because that was like the hero shot, like all of them together, about to charge at Thanos probably. But
that was your Avengers shot when Horde put in the hammer and they're all in that circle together. There's your they had a prime opportunity to entertain the masses doing that and totally have nerdgasms everywhere. But they dropped the ball.
Further nerdgasms, because this movie was still pretty awesome without that shot.
For sure. There was so much to touch upon. So we've covered that. Okay, so the Battle of Wakanda, let's touch a little bit of that. And that kind of sets us up towards the back end of the movie. I think we covered pretty much everything.
I think so.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, so we go to Wakanda now, and then there's that big force field, and they can't penetrate it, but I forget, who's the one that says to tell the Black Panther to go ahead and tell them to lower the shield?
Yeah, he tells, I think his sister, Shuri, to...
But who's the one that convinced Black Panther to do that? Was
I think it was Captain America. Yeah, I'm pretty sure
That's what I want to say, it was Captain America. Pretty much, because this is the only way this is going to happen. I mean, they're going to stay out, but they're only going to multiply and get bigger and bigger, and you're going to have to fight more and more of these guys. So it's like, drop the shield now and let's run with this. So they do, and this is the big final scene at the end of the film that we see in Wakanda, which was really great. It was good to see. I appreciated the fact. I like that scene where they show the females kicking ass too.
Yeah,
I think
Okoye. Kicking butt, that was cool. And then,
I thought that was cool, and it wasn't Black Widow. Wasn't there a cool scene with Black Widow too? I think she did something.
Yeah, it was.
She might have been in that back end.
Yeah, it was Black Widow and Okoye versus Proxima Midnight, which is one of the Black Order. She was. I actually thought she was one of the best Black Order characters. She was pretty cool. I loved her voice too. I don't know who voices her character, but she was really cool looking, and that fight scene was pretty intense. And then, of course, Scarlet Witch comes in and pretty much takes care of that.
Mows it down, man. Yeah, I thought, like I said, that was kind of like a girl power moment. I thought that was kind of cool. And it was important for the Marvel Universe because it was pretty much saying, hey, DC has Wonder Woman, but there's some strong females here at the Marvel side, too, that you guys need to take notice to. So I thought that was kind of cool. And I thought that was kind of like not like a nod, but kind of just letting people know that, hey, Marvel, we have some females that are pretty badass too. So that was kind of cool to see them have their moment to shine too.
Yeah.
Then we see a lot of fighting. There's like a lot of fighting. I think this last scene probably takes. This last scene feels like it's like a half hour, 45 minutes. I think
it does.
I want to say it feels like it's.
They cut it up into pieces when they keep going back to Thor, trying to forge the new hammer, Stormbreaker, which I thought that was pretty interesting. It was a little too drawn out, maybe, but...
Yeah, which, spoiler, he does forge it.
Yes, he does.
Spoiler.
And I thought it was cool.
Does he kick ass or what when he comes down to Wakanda?
When he comes back, the music at that part was probably my favorite part when Thor shows up. It's like, yes, he's back. He's back on Earth. It's been a while.
He has two good eyes now because remember, I think Rocket gave him an eye, so he doesn't have anymore.
Yep.
Spoiler.
He's a little overpowered, I think. Yes, we saw him in Thor Ragnarok using the lightning. That was cool. But now that he's got Stormbreaker, he's just like, now he really is the strongest Avenger.
It's legit Thor, it's Thor version 2.0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought he looked cool too with the black armor.
I thought it was really menacing, and I'm glad he has it was nice to see it was really cool, almost kind of like a Raiden from Mortal Kombat-esque with the glowing eyes and the lightning and stuff like that. So to me, there was kind of nods to different video games and stuff like that. I kind of picked up. I doubt they did that, but I kind of thought that when I was watching this movie. I was thinking, oh, it's kind of like Raiden, but really really badass Raiden though. But so that fight scene pretty much carries on for a long period of time.
Very long.
There's just a lot of fighting. There's a lot of fighting going on, and then so we do see that Thanos ends up getting all the stones that he needs to complete the gauntlet, to complete his armor. So that's pretty much where we kind of wind down the movie. Which what do you think about the ending of this film? When you I first didn't know what the hell was going on. I'm like, what is going on?
When everyone's disappearing?
Everybody's turning into ash. I'm like, where the hell is everybody going? Yeah.
I had a feeling that they were going to let him snap his fingers because I guess that's how it plays out in the comics. And I was really hoping that it would play out that way because I'm like, how are they going to do this? What is actually going to happen? Then they do it, and I'm like, okay, here we go. And then everyone starts, half the Avengers start disappearing. It's Black Panther disappears, Spider-Man
goes. That scene right there really was kind of heartbreaking. Though he's like, because he's so clueless. He's like, don't let me go, or I can't. He's like, Mr. Stark. But see, the thing that kind of drives me a little bit crazy, and that's my one nitpick to this movie, is we know we're getting a Homecoming too. Spider-Man's coming back. So when you do this stuff, it undermines the realism, I guess, of the film. It kind of it does chop in a little bit to, you're like, well, okay, so wait a minute, your storyline, you're going to undo this because you have to. You have Black Panther who got ended up going into Ash. I believe he was one to go, right?
Yeah, he was one.
Black Panther went. He's getting a sequel. Spider-Man obviously went. He's getting a sequel. So when you do that, it kind of undermines the film doing it like that because you already know what's going to happen. These guys are getting sequels, so it's kind of weird to see that they would do that at the end of the film like that.
Mm-hmm. That's my biggest gripe about the Marvel movies, how they do that. They've planned so far ahead that you never really feel that sense of urgency for these characters. Like you said, Spider-Man, he's got a movie coming out in a couple of years or next year. I don't know when it comes out, but he's safe.
Literally, Black Panther just made over $200 million its opening weekend. And you're killing him off already. They're making another Black Panther film. So I kind of was like, how far are they going to undo this when they do it? So, I think Iron Man was safe. Rogers was safe. And those were the two that were rumored to go because everybody thought RDJ and Chris Evans' character were not going to make the film.
Yeah, I definitely thought Captain America was going to die, but they didn't. And I was actually happy to see that he survived. But Star-Lord, Drax, and Mantis from the Guardians of the Galaxy all disappeared too. And like you said, we have another Guardians of the Galaxy movie coming out. So they can't kill off 90% of the Guardians of the Galaxy and then have a sequel.
And that's the thing.
And then Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, Bucky Barnes, Falcon, and then at the end of the credits we see Agent Hill and Nick Fury disappear as well. So to see all those characters disappear, while I'm watching it, I'm just like, what is happening? Because the way everybody's leaving, and I'm thinking, okay, but then I'm starting to think, I'm like, okay, but like how we said, okay, Guardians are getting another movie, they need to come back, and Gamora has to come back too, so how far are you going to undo everything is the thing. Yeah. Because you're going to have to use the time stone or something to kind of undo what was done here, almost kind of like what
Days of Future Past did when they did away with X3 Apocalypse, which was dog shit. Or no, The Last Stand. Sorry, The Last Stand, which took everything that was ever done. And kind of ended it with X2, which was still X2. I hold to high regards because X2 was a great movie. But it was kind of like almost like what they did with that, what they're going to kind of do with that, to kind of backstep it. But how far is it going to go? I think Loki's going to be dead for sure. I think they're not bringing him back. I think Hiddleston's time as Loki's done, and I think obviously Idris Elba's character is done.
Yeah.
But then who's the next to go outside of that? Gamora was the next one, right?
Yeah, and then Vision. But,
yeah,
I mean, both of those could come back. They could repair Vision because they kind of talk about it earlier in the movie, how he's Jarvis, he's Tony Stark, he's, I almost said Mark Ruffalo, he's Bruce Banner, and he's Ultron, and he's the Stone. Like, he's all of those characters, and they can just, like, grab one of his personalities or something, probably Jarvis, and repair him, or they're probably going to bring Jarvis's operating system or something and put it back into Iron Man's suit. I don't know.
I was so happy
they will keep Paul Bettany in the Marvel movies, I think, somehow.
Which I think is kind of, that's kind of funny because I think Jennifer Connelly was in the MCU too. And they're married in real life. I thought that was
Are they really?
funny. Yeah. What the hell was Connelly was in? Wasn't Connelly the voice for Homecoming?
Oh yeah, she was. Yep, she was the computer voice.
She was the computer voice, and they're married. Paul Bettany and her are married. So I think it's kind of cool how they kind of I kind of like how they kind of like everybody gets involved in the MCU. I guess.
They're running out of actors.
For sure, yeah, because everybody's been in it one form or another.
Yeah.
So we're thinking Loki and Idris Elba's character, and then I think we may back it up to where Gamora dies and undo that and undo Vision, and then everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking everyone who died after or during Thanos getting the Soul Stone will come back. Because when he snaps his fingers, I've heard a theory that everyone who disappears after that is sent to like the soul realm or something like that.
Okay.
And once the Avengers can get the Soul Stone back and try and undo what he did, they can bring all those people back.
So we're thinking Iron Man and Thor
like
and Captain.
The original Avengers.
Because all of them made it. All four of the Avengers made it. Yeah, Hulk, Thor,
all the big guys,
Iron Man, and Cap. Yeah, which I was so happy. If anything, I wanted RDJ to live. I didn't care about it. You know, RDJ and Hulk were like my main focuses, and I knew they weren't going to kill Hulk, so I was like, we were pretty much safe. I was excited in that part. Okay, so we've touched pretty much on. Did we pretty much hit on everything that you wanted to hit on?
I think
what
so.
You had written down.
Yeah, the scene after Thanos snaps when he goes to like that weird vision.
It's not like I almost want to say it's not like an island, but it's like
right.
Yeah,
it was weird. It was to me. It felt like when you're installing a piece of software on your computer or something, and you have to click yes, I agree to the terms of agreement. Like it was like. It's like, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to kill half the universe? And he's like, yes. So
it's almost like reboot, yes, and then your iPhone shuts off, and that's the end of the movie. You're like, what the hell just happened? Yeah.
Yep.
I'm like, what? So yeah, it took a lot to process when and I know I'm not the only one because I know a lot of people were thinking the same thing. They were like, wait a minute, so what does this mean moving forward? But I started to rationalize it after I started thinking, well, obviously you're bringing Black Panther back, and just because you're bringing a couple of these characters back means that these characters have to be coming back, and other characters should be coming back too. So it kind of does undermine it and take away the fun.
It does.
But it's kind of cool though, because at the end of the film, it's like Thanos gets the last laugh. You know, he everything he sought out to do, he did.
Yep.
So it kind of makes it. So where do you see? We'll go ahead and go into the post-credit scenes, because remember I told you there was no mid-credit scenes, which I thought was like okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I fully expected a mid-credit scene, at least to let tease Ant-Man and the Wasp as more of a fun one.
I figured they were going to do something like that. Yeah.
But they didn't, and I thought it was pretty bold.
So, okay, all of a sudden it's like chaotic, like almost like Cloverfield-esque type New York City. Oh my God, what's happening? And out of a sense of panic, we see Nick Fury driving a car and then ends up pulling over and making a phone call, and then all of a sudden he starts to vanish and he starts to turn into dust too. So where do we go? We pan into the phone and we see that it's Captain Marvel that he's trying to get a hold of. What did you think of when you saw that?
As soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's who they're gonna have defeat Thanos. Because I guess
wasn't it the logo?
It was the logo. It was a bit cheesy, but it was so cool at the same time. Because like Karen, my wife, she's sitting right next to me watching the movie. She's like, "What was that?" I'm like, "It was Captain Marvel." Like other people in the theater were saying the same thing.
Well,
I'm like,
It was funny because I was your wife in that situation. I'm like, and then it made sense because Captain Marvel obviously is coming out with a film, so that. Then it started, obviously, I'm like, oh, okay, well then this is the storyline we're going to go ahead and do moving on with Captain Marvel, and somehow maybe coming in contact with the Avengers to try to undo everything that Thanos has done, and maybe having a showdown with Thanos, maybe?
What confuses me is it's like a little beeper that he calls her on. I don't get why it looks so sophisticated. Like, my theory is that she is not in like this universe. She's gonna be in like the alternate universe where everyone else got sent to or something. I don't really know.
What I was, I was thinking that too. Like, what if she was one of the ones that got kind of sucked away in the dust too? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because of her powers, she's able to save everyone. I don't know. That's just a theory of mine. I don't really know, but I'm excited to see her character.
And I am too, and I'm hoping maybe the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, maybe we kind of can tease back into it, because Ant-Man's going to have a role in the next Avengers film, I believe.
Yep.
So I'm kind of hoping maybe we can get some answers or kind of get some kind of guidance of where they're going to be taking this, because I left the film, I'm kind of like I was on the edge of the seat about it. I enjoyed this film, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, there were scenes where I'm just like, okay, but like the gripe I was telling you about, it's just like I feel like we're doing all this stuff just to go and undo it. So why even do it? You know what I mean? Why even go there? You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah, this movie kind of is a little bit comparable to Star Wars: The Last Jedi, where they took a lot of risks and they took a lot of chances. Some choices that they made I don't really agree with because of the fact that they've planned so far ahead. It doesn't really make that. It's not that big of an impact.
No, I agree.
But
I agree.
I do feel that they earned a right to make these choices more so than Star Wars: The Last Jedi because of all the amount of movies that have been made for this leading up to that and all the characters that we know. So
18 movies in 10 years. Yeah, for sure. I like this movie a lot more than I did The Last Jedi. I was I go back and I watch my review on The Last Jedi. I was so engulfed with the moment that I sit there and think, the one thing that really bothers me with The Last Jedi, and I don't know if it bothers you, the killing of Snoke was just so uncalled for and unnecessary. I'm like, so who's going to be the villain? You're gonna bring it back to Kylo Ren now? Because Kylo Ren, when he killed him, obviously there's nobody else that's going to be bad. He's going to go and revert back to being evil. I'm like, this is so dumb. Like
it would be the equivalent of Loki killing Thanos and then Loki taking the Infinity Gauntlet or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I'm like, okay, like, all right. But yeah. All right, so we've talked pretty much all spoilers, anything Infinity War, and that's where we need your help. What did you guys most like about the Infinity War movie? Just sound off there in the comments. What were you surprised at? I know the Russo brothers took a lot of chances, just kind of how like Rian Johnson did in The Last Jedi. But, I mean, to me, I think the payoff is better in this film than The Last Jedi. But what do you guys think? Go ahead, sound off in the comments. Overall, for your rating, what did you give this film?
I give Avengers: Infinity War an A+. Just it's the best. To me, for my opinion, I think it's the best MCU movie that we've gotten because of the villain, Thanos. It's more about his story and that he succeeds, and the Avengers are always on their heels trying to fight back. I just thought it was really cool and really well acted and pulled off flawlessly.
For sure, I gave this movie a 5 out of 5. I know that a lot of the things are very repetitious in the rating systems and stuff like that, but you had 10 years, 18 movies leading up to this. Everything did feel earned. There was some head-scratching moments like, what are you thinking? But that just makes you even more vested to what's going to happen later on in the movies. So I do appreciate the Russo brothers in that aspect. Plus, I think they've already confirmed that I think they are doing the next Avengers movie. Am I right?
Yep, they shot these ones back to back. So
yeah, yeah, that's right. It was all one big production. Yeah, so obviously it was the Russo brothers. Yeah, that's right. Which makes it even more exciting because when you have Captain America, Winter Soldier, you got Civil War, you got Infinity War, then you got the next one. I mean, they're only getting better and better. So I mean, the sky's the limit for this one. So I think obviously there's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if this is another 2 hour and 40 minute, close to 3 hour film to kind of end it off. And this is where you might see the end of Tony Stark as Iron Man and Captain Rogers as Captain America. I think this might be the send off. The next film, all bets are off in the next film. I think this one was kind of like almost like a preview of what's to come. You know what I mean?
It's like warming you up. Like, hey, get to know these characters one more time because
because this is it feels like the last go around. It feels like this is like Brett Favre's. Retiring, like he's going to be retiring this season for real this time.
Right.
It's one last hurrah. It's like one last let's go for it. You know what I mean? And I think that this is what it almost feels like, that Logan-esque type feel to it. This is like the last ride here, I think, for these guys. But yeah, so like overall, I really enjoyed the film. I like the Russo brothers' direction of this film. Where do you see this film going? Like, where do you see the franchise going? Like post Infinity War?
Oh man, it's gonna be weird, I think, for sure. I mean, we're gonna get a lot of minor comic book characters coming up and being big Hollywood blockbusters, but I don't think anything is going to be as big as obviously this one and Avengers 4, because I mean, 10 years in the making, of 11 when the next one comes out.
Yeah.
This
one comes out next May?
Next May.
Of 19? Yeah.
I'm happy that we only have to wait one more year for the conclusion of this story. I would like to wait less, but
like Star Wars, they want you to wait like 3. They used to. Like I remember with the prequels were 99, 02, and 05.
Yeah.
And then they were like, shit, we just need to make them every year because that's what sells. But
it does.
Yeah. But yeah, so well, thanks for coming on today. I appreciate this taking us almost an hour here of talking all things Infinity War. Spoiler alert, and congratulations if you guys have made it through this video so far. 57 minutes, congrats. Yeah. But tell everybody where they can find you at.
Well, thanks again for having me on again, Russell. I love talking about this movie with you and all things Avengers. But you can find me on YouTube at Married Movie Reviews. You can also find me on Twitter at Married Review. On YouTube, Karen and I, my wife, we do movie reviews, I break down trailers, and we just have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, so for those of you watching, go ahead and subscribe to his channel. He's a really good guy. Him and his wife know their stuff, and it's kind of cute that they have this different approach to things that you normally don't see a whole lot. You don't see like married couples kind of doing that kind of stuff, so it's nice to see that kind of stuff. All of Mike's information is going to be down there in the description of the video. Share this video. Anything we can do to get this video to get some likes, man. I really would appreciate it. I think Mike would too. We did put some time into these videos. We kind of wanted to lead up to Infinity War with big things. He did Avengers on his channel. I did Captain America Winter Soldier on mine. He did Civil War on his. And this is where we conclude the Infinity War, up the road to Infinity War here on my channel. But go ahead and share the video, like and comment. Anything you guys can do, for sure. Absolutely make this thing happen. But that's all we have, I think. I'm pretty sure Mike doesn't have anything else. You got anything else, Mike?
I think I've said my piece.
I think you guys are tired of us yapping for the last hour, so we're going to head and let you guys off the hook. But absolutely go ahead and check out Mike's page and check out show his page some love for sure. Until then, we'll see you guys in Hollywood, man.